Hello, I am Teresa, and today, together with Ursula and Raluca, we would like to present to you the topic of big data. The paper on big data management, and after a recap of the core paper will follow. The similarities are discussed. Then we will link both topics to a business case and follow up with a question and a discussion in class. First, I would like to introduce to you the presentation paper. The paper presents the phenomenon of big data and its impact on management of organization. The main assumption is that data-driven decisions that executives make allow them to translate knowledge from data into actions that have better long-term performance. But isn't the big data just another way of analytics? Paper distinguishes three characteristics of big data: volume, velocity, and variety that are significant. Velocity is all about the speed of data creation. Volume stands for huge amounts of information produced in an incredible short amount of time. More data crosses the internet every second that was stored in the internet just 20 years ago. Variety means that different types of information are stored on the internet. Moreover, data is collected from various sensors and readers. But why will using big data improve business performance? What is the value of being data-driven? Using big data leads to better predictions. Storing data in data warehouses prevents fragmentation and helps to deliver quick personalized promotion and can significantly decrease costs. The technical challenges of using big data are very real, but the managerial challenges are even greater. This is why the paper presents five management challenges and says that companies don't reap the full benefits of a transition to using big data unless they're able to manage change effectively. Leadership means that we will still have to have business leaders who can spot a great opportunity. Talent management, as data becomes cheaper, the complements to data become more valuable. More important skills. Leaders reformulate their challenges in ways that big data can tackle. Technology, they're not prohibitively expensive. These technologies do require a skill set that is new to most IT departments. Decision making, leaders will create an organization flexible enough to minimize the not invented there syndrome and maximize cross-functional cooperation. Company culture requires to move away from acting solely on instincts, also breaking a habit, pretending to be more data-driven than we actually are. The core paper of this week discusses organizational decision making. Traditionally, decision making within an organization is structured in a way that top management is responsible for the strategic decision making, middle managers for the internal structural arrangements and coordination among units, and lower level managers are in charge of operational activities within their assigned units. However, nowadays this is no longer effective within the fragmented and organic structures of new organizational forms, such as networks, joint ventures, and strategic alliances. The structures of a lot of modern firms are not functionally structured, and there is a more integrated curriculum. Bounded rationality is concerned with the concepts of ambiguity and uncertainty in decision making. In some situations, there is too little information to work with due to a high rate of change in the environment or the technical core product, which causes difficulties with determining how to achieve the company's goals and values. This is referred to as uncertainty and is concerned with the question, how are we going to achieve our goals and values? With ambiguity, there is no agreement between the decision makers about the goals and values of the firm. Alternatives are evaluated in more than one way. Here the question is, what are our goals and values? Adding information reduces uncertainty, however, it increases ambiguity. There are four styles of decision making, of which the rational model is the most traditional, following a waterfall pattern where each stage starts where the previous one ends, and you cannot go backwards into the process. This is a very rigid method, which is why it is only suitable when there's agreement about the what and the how, so low uncertainty and low ambiguity. When there is lack of agreement on the goals due to conflicting goals, competition of scarce resources, or interdependence, there is less uncertainty. A coalition method is more suitable. This is where coalitions are formed based upon behind the scenes negotiations that strive to consider all interests of the parties involved. However, when there's no ambiguity but high uncertainty, a lack of information, the trial and error method is best used. This method involves finding new alternatives, most of which are mere increments of the last decision made. And lastly, when there's high ambiguity and high uncertainty, the garbage can model is best to use. It involves random streams of events that intertwine where random solutions may attach themselves to problems in the presence of individuals at a random point in time. When this connection occurs, problems may be identified or solved. However, there is always a risk that this may not happen and problems will not be solved. This model is sharp contrast with the rational model, and it does not usually occur in organizations for a long time. Both papers highlight the importance of decision-making processes. The presentation paper says that companies have to learn how to mute the highest paid person who still relies too much on experience and intuition and not enough on data. They need to establish new roles and ask the questions. We should focus on questions such as what does the data say? Where did the data come from? What kind of analysis was conducted? On the other hand, the core paper emphasizes the role of ambiguity and uncertainty. Low level of ambiguity and low uncertainty is desired in order to create a follow common goals. Next, let's take a look at the business case. Netflix is a hugely successful business at the moment. They have a massive amount of subscribers, which 200 million across the world at the end of 2020 because of using data-driven decision-making. They have put big data and AI at the core of their business structure. The platform itself automatically collects forms of data such as users' watch history, search queries, and time spent watching a show. The company also collects some bits of data from other sources such as demographic data, interest-based data, and internet browsing behavior. Let's take a look at Netflix action on how to allure and keep customers satisfied while using big data. First area where they use big data is to better understand people as consumers. Company can understand exactly what we are watching, what we are browsing, and what we are skipping. A lot of content providers haven't got the same ability because Netflix has huge volumes of data. All this data is giving a hugely granular insight into consumers, and they use this data to produce new content and make new productions because they know what we like and what we dislike. The success rate of newly produced content is traditional TV is around 30 to 40%, whereas Netflix is at 80%, which is leaving the competition behind. The second area where they use big data and AI is to recommend us new movies and new TV programs to watch. 80% of what we watch on Netflix is now driven by their recommendations. Netflix has put a lot of effort into mixing and analyzing data so they can understand us as consumers, so we give us content and recommend content that we will actually enjoy. Netflix uses data processing software and traditional business intelligence tools such as Hadoop and Teradata, as well as its own open source solutions such as Lipstick and Genie to gather, store, and process massive amounts of information. After presenting both core paper and presentation paper and showing Netflix business case, we would like you to know your opinion about human insights, while nowadays significance of data-driven decision-making process. It is important to include the vision of human insight into the decision-making process, despite the accuracy of solutions based on big data. Why do you agree to this statement and why do you not? Let's discuss. We are looking forward to our discussion on Wednesday. Thank you for your attention.